writing of the book, even though it's premised around the family, you will see that the bulk of the book, 95% of the book, is about other people and not the family.
Okay.
And the only reason we wrote about the family was to provide the context and why we're writing the book. And the context for us was very important in the sense that we didn't want to be seen as people who are trying to write the history of the ANC, which we do not know about, we do not own, and we don't think we're qualified to write about.
Sure.
Instead, we could write about what we know from the viewpoint of number 43 and how it actually complemented what the ANC was trying to achieve.
So if you think about highs and lows, that you can describe as the low in an organization?
One of the biggest lows for us and the organization is what I define in the book as the biggest defection in the history of the ANC, where somebody who was probably third or fourth in command from the president of the ANC of the time, O.R. Tambo, defected to the other side, became an Askari, came back to Swaziland and wreaked havoc. People went missing, people were maimed, people were killed, cars were shot at, houses were bombed. And this now is somebody who operated from number 43. Somebody I trusted as a brother. Somebody I had predicted to, in the future, South Africa would end up being, at best, the president of the country. At worst, the deputy president. That's how intellectual he was, and that's how he actually portrayed himself as a leader amongst us. And the day or the night before he was arrested, abducted, taken across the border into South Africa, we had spent almost half the night, up until 3 a.m. in the morning, contemplating a future South Africa.
Oh, wow.
The following day, he was arrested, disappeared. When he came back as a sellout or an Askari. For me, that was one of the biggest lows, because what followed after that was a series of killings. One of those killings is a killing that took place literally at the doorstep of my brother's house. And this is an operation that has been cited on many occasions, but more prominently in the TRC report, which is the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report of South Africa.
UVIVA?
That's right. That's UVIVA. Yeah. And amongst the people who died was a former schoolmate of mine who had just completed his law degree and was waiting for his graduation. He never made it to the graduation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is sad. And if you think about your personal lows?
I don't think I've ever had a low. And the reason is that during the period that I'm referring to, we never fully appreciated the risks that we were exposed to. I only started appreciating those risks when I started writing. And I was saying to myself, how stupid could we have been to put ourselves in this situation for a period of 40 years? But we're very, very lucky in that in this period of 40 years, despite the fact that this brother of mine by the name of September defected, came back and created the havoc that he created, he never picked any of the family members, neither did he pick number 43. And for us, it remained an unanswered question until the very tail end of putting together the manuscript. We had always asked ourselves why number 43 was never touched. I then get the opportunity of interviewing one of the police officers that operated from Swaziland, South African police officers that operated from Swaziland, with Eugene de Kock. And in my interview with him, I had only one question for him.
Why?
And the question was, why number 43 was never touched? And he gave a very simple answer. And he said, during their operations, they had one fundamental principle. And the principle was, they will never, ever touch a house that harbors people that work for them. For me, that was the end of the interview. I didn't want to know the identity of those people because it is a truth that I did not know how to deal with. I would never have known how to deal with that truth if it was one of my siblings.
So someone in your home worked for the enemy.
That's right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And this is why this house was kept untouched for over 40 years.
Tell us a little bit about the Pretoria bombing.
Now, the Pretoria Church Street bomb blast was an operation that targeted the military in the city center of Pretoria. The biggest risk with that operation is that because it was in the middle of a built-up area, it was unlikely that it would only affect the military personnel to the exclusion of the average citizen. And it so happened that the bomb actually killed a lot of private citizens. That means the ANC had crossed the line from hard targets to soft targets. It attracted huge global criticism. And from then on, they had to play a huge diplomatic exercise to try and correct that image, which was building in the minds of the global community that it is a terrorist organization.
And what changed after that?
What changed after that is that the ANC became much more articulate in the way in which it managed its operations. I can't remember of an operation that resulted in the loss of human life from the average part of society. That's the way they managed it.